I am Giulio Bonazzi and I am the Chairman and CEO of Aquafil, and we make synthetic fibers and polymers. But actually, this is not the reason why I am here today. I mean, not because we make synthetic fibers and polymers, but it's the way we make them that is making us very different from the rest of the pack. And I have to tell you that when we started this journey, it was very, very bumpy because, I mean, when I was trying to explain that I wanted to change the nature of my company, that instead of using oil, we wanted to start from waste, and that for me, waste is a very precious raw materials. At that time, it was 2008, bankers were telling me that I was crazy. And luckily today, everything is changing and everybody is keen to finance or to belong to the green and circular economy, even if, of course, we are just at the beginning. And why I'm saying that we make nylon in a very different way? Because we developed a fiber, which we sell through the trade name of Econil, which is a regenerated nylon, 100% recycled, and is coming from plastic waste such as fishing nets, fabric scraps, and old carpets. And this is quite different from the normal production that is coming from petroleum-based raw materials. And this is why we like to say that Econil is a sustainable, infinite, and endless polymer or fiber with a global warming potential reduction up to 90% in comparison with traditional oil-based raw materials. But why I say that Econil is sustainable? Because we don't take any new resource from the planet. It is 100% coming from waste. And waste, particularly nasty, such as fishing nets that we collect from all over the world, from Europe, North and South America, Asia, and even from Australia and New Zealand, or carpets that are mostly coming from United States and California, plastic scraps that we collect in Europe and from many different places, or fabric trims that are coming from pre-consumer production of our customers that we bring back through take-back systems that are in place with our major clients. And the result is not a waste, but it's a series of beautiful products made by the most prestigious fashion or carpet companies around the world. So with nylon, you can make jackets, you can make backpacks, you can make raincoats, you can make design works, you can make carpets, you can make many different products. Why we say that Econil is infinite? Because normally, when we deal with plastic recycling, we normally think of remelting plastic waste. And this is bringing many limitations from the aesthetical and from the performance point of view. Well, what we have developed, which is peculiar of very few plastic polymers, is a kind of return to its original building blocks. So we go back one step in the chemical chain. It is called depolymerization, and this means that if you give me back your used carpet at the end of its life, I can regenerate and give you back the fabric for your next swimsuit. If you give me back your swimsuit, I can make the pallet to mold your next pair of sunglasses. And this forever, because we have an efficiency in the transformation which is close to 100%. So it is not like the classical bottle to fabric and fabric to grave. If you use Econil, you can repeat like nature does, really forever and without taking new material from the planet. And it is really exactly identical of the nylon coming from petroleum. Nothing more, nothing less, no differences. And this is why, in this case, it's not us going to designers or engineers and saying what is possible to do. But on the contrary, we go there and we say, please, do whatever you like. Express at the highest level your creativity and your genius. And then you will see that we will substitute the conventional nylon with our Econil because it is exactly identical. And this is why it is the preferred choice of, the most important brands today in the world. We collaborate already with more than 2,000 companies, such as Adidas, such as Prada, Gucci, Stella McCartney, Burberry, Tom Dixon, Breitling. I can, repeat 2,000 names, but this would take too long. So there is really no limitation. But clearly, we are just at the beginning of our journey. And I like to say that today with Econil, we can change the world. But of course, we can't do it by ourselves. So for this reason, I always like to say that we need three basic things. We need a proper legislation, we need education of the population living on our planet, and we need another important point, which is eco-design. Why legislation? Well, there are many examples of so-called extended producer responsibility, which, just to cut the story short, means that every industry should be made responsible for the waste and for the raw materials that they are consuming from our beautiful planet. For example, if you travel to Norway, you will see that the Norwegian government is requiring people making plastic bottles to make them in a very particular way. The bottle, the corkle, the labels, everything is made thinking at the end of its use. You can do it differently, but you pay a tax because in this case you are adding cost to the society. And of course, doing this, you have to be responsible of what you're doing. On top of that, when you go and buy a bottle of water or container of water from the supermarket or from the shop, you pay a deposit on the bottle. This is just to encourage to take back the empty bottles at the end of its use. And they have also created collection points that are making easy to access the collection of the deposit if you don't want to go back to the supermarket because you have no need going back to that place. Well, the result is 97% of recycling rate, which is, of course, a clear evidence that the entire world can resolve the problem of the plastic bottles. We, for example, through Econil, we could, with the proper legislation and the proper education and eco-design, resolve entirely the problem of the carpet waste, which is today more than 3% of the fraction of waste sent to landfill in the United States, or the problem of the fishing net, which according to the United Nations is representing around 10% of the total plastics that are dumped into the oceans. And most likely one of the most dangerous fraction that is contributing to create the sadly famous plastic islands that are floating into the oceans. Well, if you make them in nylon 6 and you help us collecting, we can recycle them all without adding any cost to the society. Why education? Well, not everybody knows that with better instruction, we create much more wealth for every society. And of course, also we must consider that we are around 8 million people, or we are approaching 8 billion people living in our planet. And we need each single individual to behave properly if we really want to change. It is not enough that me or you are changing, but we need everybody to understand and to make, how can I say, aware of what is good and what is bad in order to have the possibility to make the right choices. And then eco-design. Eco-design is a very important matter because every product which is today in the market is made having linear society in mind. So the take, make, dispose system. Well, at this point, if we really want to change it and to make our life easier, we need to redesign products and systems of distributing them in order to be able to collect them and to create value at the end of their use. For example, in the carpet tile business, which is a particularly tough product to recycle, we have a collaboration with one of our major customers belonging to the target group that they are selling a very performing and beautiful carpet tile under the trademark of Air Master, because it's giving better air indoor quality and also is made in a way through the collaboration of the two companies that each single layer of the carpet tile can be separated, first of all, of course, taken back at the end of use and separated and recycled. When it is the nylon face fiber through the Econil regeneration system, and when it is the eco-base backing, is recycled by the carpet tile manufacturer, who can return, instead of using materials coming from the planet, using the waste that they have collected. Another system to, let's say, create products with the circularity in mind is the monomaterial concept. And I want to show you one video. In this case, I always like to say that to me, there are two moments in the textile industry, before Naipapiri and after Naipapiri, because this beautiful product has been made without any compromise in aesthetics, without any compromise in performances, but with a single material. So the entire jacket is made out of nylon 6 or of Econil. So the fabric outside, the linings, the material inside to give better coibentation, the zippers, the ropes, the velcros, the fasteners, the buttons, every single component is made of nylon 6. And the jacket is sold with a QR code, aiming of creating a community of people who at the end of use, but not earlier than 2 years, not to encourage fast fashion, they can take back the jacket to the shop and get a credit for the value of the raw material which is inside. At this point, the company will collect the jackets and send them back to Aquafil for recycling them through the Econil regeneration system. Clearly, it is very easy to recycle this product. It's one single material. You don't have to spend money to separate into different layers or to create technologies for the separation, which sometimes are very difficult. So, as I said, there are basically two systems, either to design that are easy to decompose or to design products that are made with one single material. Of course, recyclable infinitely like Econil is. So let me conclude with this hope for the future, that we envision a future when people begin with the end in mind, which means that designers are able to design products choosing the right raw materials and the right way of manufacturing, aiming at the end to recycle them, and engineers the same, and of course consumers have the possibility to choose among all the beautiful products available those that are not creating a problem, but on the contrary, representing a solution. Thank you.